In 2023, Manitoba Pulse and Soybean Growers On-Farm Network hosted more than 13 soybean seeding rate trials. Let's discuss those results. Seeding rate decisions start with deciding what living plant stand you are targeting. We recommend a living plant stand for soybeans between 140 to 160,000 plants per acre to maximize yield. So that's where we start. From there, we adjust our seeding rate to account for germination, vigor, and expected seed survival. We seed those seeds, and the actual plant stand that establishes in the field, we can measure using plant counts. From what we achieve in the field, we can circle back and inform future seeding decisions. By investigating seeding rate in on-farm trials, we get statistically sound results on this yield outcome at the field scale. Before getting into the on-farm trials, I wanted to go over the original research that determined ideal living plant stands in Manitoba to target. This small plot research study was conducted by Ramona Moore at Ag Canada Brandon. There were 8 sites across Manitoba from Melita to Beausejour, Roblin to Arborg, and at other research stations in between. Here, yield is calculated across row spacings, sites, and years, and as a percent of the maximum yield at each site to give relative yield. From where this data plateaus, we get the recommendation of the live plant stand with 140 to 160,000 plants per acre to target. This is highlighted in purple. With that brief introduction, let's talk about the on-farm trials investigating seeding rate. There was a desire to test seeding rates on-farm at the field scale with farmers' existing equipment and management strategies to dial in farm-specific seeding rate decisions. Soybean seed is quite expensive, so there was the desire to know if we could reduce that input cost by lowering seeding rates. Would lowering seeding rates impact yield? Were we leaving any yield behind with our current seeding rates? And would increasing the seeding rate impact yield at all? 13 soybean seeding rate trials were conducted in 2023, and they're shown on this map. Ideally, the minimum requirement is a difference of at least 30,000 seeds per acre between seeding rate treatments. We use 30,000 to make sure that treatments are different enough from one another that there is a potential for difference in agronomic performance. This year, the difference in seeding rate treatments were anywhere from 18,000 to 60,000. Other than seeding rate, the field and the trial are managed normally, and plant counts took place at vegetative and reproductive stages. In all of our on-farm trials, we evaluate plant stands by taking plant counts. This tells us how many plants are establishing from the seeding rate in the field, and also how many are surviving to harvest. Are we seeing any plants dying off throughout the season from something like competition? In seeding rate trials, we count a lot of plants. In each treatment strip, we count 10 feet of 2 rows at 2 different spots. The first plant count is during the early V stages, once all of the plants have emerged and it's been flagged. So we can revisit the same spot closer to harvest and take a second plant count. Now, a little bit of background on these trials. 54% have been seeded with an air seeder and 46 have been seeded with a planter, or planted with a planter rather. The average seeding date was May 18th, excluding one that was seeded on June 4th. The average early season establishment was 81%, and the average late season survivability was 84%. In terms of results, of the 13 trials, changing seeding rate has not impacted soybean yield in the on-farm trials. One question that often comes to mind regarding soybean survivability is equipment playing a role in how many plants are established. Air seeders are expected to be a little harder on the seed. On average, we're seeing 85% survivability with a planter and 78% survivability with an air seeder. So the planter had a small edge over the air seeder for survivability, but the gap was not large. So what's the economical choice when we look at 2023 results? Changing seeding rate has not impacted soybean yield in on-farm trials. Most frequently, seeding rates tested had differed by 30,000 and 60,000 seeds per acre, resulting in a loss of $14.55 per acre and $29.1 per acre, respectively, compared to the lowest seeding rate. In summary, investigate seeding rates and the living plant stands that establish from them on your farm to inform future management decisions. Results will be farm specific. We can change our seeding rate to a degree without impacting yield. The best way to inform seeding rates on your farm is to take plant counts and critically investigate where you might be able to dial in seeding rate to maximize the amount of plants that establish from the seeds put in the ground. If you're interested in learning more about these results, every trial result is available in the On-Farm Network database available at manitobapulse.ca or by following this QR code. If you're interested in participating in a trial, contact myself. Thank you for listening today about 2023 soybean seeding rate trial results. I've been Chris, MPSG's On-Farm Network agronomist. Follow us on social media to stay up to date.